Right. How am I in a relationship with somebody and I can't label my vagina? How will I be able to advocate for myself? So the card game, CTOB card game, is basically a prompt and conversation-based card game which helps people understand about their bodies, about pleasure, but making it fun. So I think community-wide, global-wide, spreading different countries. I'd love to do go to different countries and places where being a woman is often seen difficult, advocating for all women everywhere who can't access such a radical card game. I think that's where I see it in the future. This is a blind play.
This is a blind play. There was no preparation, there was nothing. We were just like, bring the card out. What message do you want to leave with young women and Black creatives listening today?
What will I say? I will say, do it scared and just do it. But you got to do it scared. So I believe in you. You should believe in you. You've got your whole community backing you. And even if you don't have your own community backing you, you will find the community who will.
Hey Black Circle family, and welcome back to the season finale episode. I can't believe how quick the season has gone, but we are going to give you a fantastic episode today. This week I'm joined by Kangwa Saili, co-founder of Clits, Tits Other Bits, the card game breaking taboos and reshaping sex education. So we get into play, we're going to get into pleasure, and why shifting the conversation matters for all of us.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. Do you know what? I am so excited for this conversation today, because not only is it educational, but there's the fun element of it too. And I think you've brought all of that to life with this card game. So let's just jump straight into it. So how did CTOB come to life?
So it came to life, Ray and I, my co-founder, were friends. We went to uni together. Mm-hmm. We went to University of the Arts and we went to LCC. And we were in our final year and we're doing a brief for Teen Vogue and D&AD and the case for her. And it was like, okay, do the brief. And it was to think of something to help young women. And then we were young women, obviously, at uni. But we just didn't know how to make it fun and accessible to make women feel confident and empowered. And then how I and Ray decided that it was the best way to go forward is to gamify it. So it originally started as a board game, and then when we decided to launch later on, after deciding it was a great idea, even though we did not win a pencil, we were like, yeah, the gamifying way works. And the card game was just a really good access to start before we went and making a massive board game with a pair of tits.
So before we go any further, do you want to explain what the card game is and kind of the educational purpose behind it?
Yeah, so the card game, CTOB card game, is basically a prompt and conversation-based card game which helps people understand about their bodies, about pleasure, but making it fun, because it's like, it's tricking you into learning. That's how I would say, so it tricks you. You're like, oh, I'm playing a game. But once you're answering the questions like, oh, what's the percentage of people who have endometriosis? You then, if you have the correct answer, then, okay, solidify and carry that truth. But if you don't have the right answer, you then learn something which is also really good to bring up in conversations. I don't know if you guys like Uber Facts. Have you heard of Uber Facts on the internet? I used to start on Twitter and then it went on to being on Instagram, etc. When I learn like a fun fact, like I'm like, oh, I don't know, foxes scream because of what happens when they get down and dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like when you say like that can come up in conversation, so that's what we're hoping that the prompts and the questions is the stats which you get from Clits, Tits Other Bits will help bring forward more conversations with other people.
It's definitely a great way to make that those facts and figures just stick.
Yeah.
And we're going to come on to the cards a bit later. I'm going to play a little game of them. Looking forward to that. I hope I don't shame myself. But
No. It's all learning, because before I made the game, I didn't answer a lot of the questions. Like when we were trying to make the board game, we were doing the question, we're like, how do we not know these questions? And we're in relationships.
Right.
How am I in a relationship with somebody and I can't label my vagina? How will I be able to advocate for myself? And that was before we started the game. What was it, 5-6 years ago? We didn't have all the information. And even now I learn, or we have questions of multiple choice and people chime in their own answers, and then I've learned something new. So I think you're always continuously always learning how to learning about yourself.
And that's the point, right? That's the whole point. And it's really interesting, you know, as Black women, and I can only speak to this from like a Caribbean perspective, for example, when we're talking about taboos in the space. You know, the generations before me, I think they're very conservative.
Very much.
And so it's getting better, and we're talking more about that. But did you feel any added pressure or responsibility breaking into such taboo topics?
I think so, because as a Black woman, we're hypersexualized.
Yep.
So me talking about this is like, oh yeah, she's down with it. Like, whoa. But then also within our communities, we're very conservative, be it African, be it Caribbean. We're very conservative because most of us have come from religious backgrounds. And obviously in religious backgrounds, you're not supposed to be having sex before marriage, right? So that in itself, that makes people carry the shame. And a lot of shame we already carry as Black people has now become sexual shame. And then it becomes a vicious cycle. But I think it's getting to the point now, my generation, everyone else's generations after me and before me are starting to realize that the shame could be consequences like death from illnesses. Like we had the AIDS pandemic in the 80s, a lot of people lost their life from it, and because of that shame a lot of people ended up dying. And like now we have the shame of people getting and not checking and then getting cervical cancer, and then that shame causes death. You know, people being shamed of their breasts, they're not checking their breasts, and because they're not checking their breasts they also get sick. And I think in a lot of our communities people have been sick and died unnecessarily, and because of that that shame, I think people are now deciding, okay, we need to do something different. But I think it's definitely improved 100%. But there's certain things I don't think I'm gonna sit and talk with my nanny about this.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's okay. My mum's quite liberal. She was a sexual health nurse at one point.
Right.
So I was quite aware of what was going on. But if I didn't have a parent who was a bit more open to it, probably would have carried a bit more shame.
That's so interesting. Do you think that having a liberal parent it influenced your ability to kind of bring something like this to life? Because again, we're talking about decoding or demystifying the shame around things. But again, it speaks to having that parent in your life that kind of paved the way for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think, 100%, because even now when I tell people about it, it's also, I really don't business and I don't care. So that's also because I'm like, this carries a deeper meaning and it helps more people. So like, well, how can I sit here and be a bit shy about it when it's the bigger picture is the bigger picture, and if you can't see the bigger picture, then that's it. But I think definitely having a parent who wouldn't be like, oh, I can't believe what she's doing, because of that, maybe that also helps me as well. I think it definitely does.
Yeah,
because I have a lot of peers who probably would never do something like this because they're like, at these times, like we're 30s, you know, like it's like you shouldn't be scared of what your parents say at 30, but unfortunately in our communities we are.
Yeah, it's always that in the back of our minds, isn't it, of wanting to please and appear that we're walking in a proper profession or something along those lines. But it's so interesting what you're saying, because literally shame, it can equate to death. Yeah, literally. So yeah, it's fantastic that we're breaking those taboos. I want to talk about building bold, which this game, it's bold, but in such a brilliant way. What is it like developing a game that's fun and cheeky, but also deeply educational? And this does have an educational element to it, so we mustn't, get lost in the fun of it all. Yeah.
I think it's really, really helped me as a person to be authentic. Yeah. I think that's what the best thing about creating something that's so bold, and also helping me challenge myself to be able to just voice it. Because when I initially say to anyone Clits, Tits Other Bits, and the only reason we picked that name is because it's bold. Because people are like, oh, what's that? It's like a shock factor. It's like a guerrilla marketing technique, right? You say Clit, everyone's like, what's going on? And then when they start realizing, they talk to them and I'm like, read the questions like, oh, it's more than that. And I'm like, yeah, because even the name in itself is educational, because you should be able to say a label of a body part and not feel vilified by it. But I think being bold, I think it's scary. But once I realized that if people get it, they get it. And if they don't, they don't. It allowed me to walk in my confidence with it. And also knowing how much hard work and research went into it, I'm like, yeah, be bold.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, you have to. I'm like,
if you're gonna put like clit in the title,
yeah.
go all the way or go home.
Yeah, no, honestly. But also, it makes you think about, I don't know, because I always sometimes worry. I don't know if you ever get this worry where you're like, oh, I don't want to have any regrets. Like, you know, life is short. We experience a lot of loss. I've experienced loss. You definitely have. Everyone has. And you're like, what if I just don't do this crazy idea? What if I don't do it? What am I going to think? Obviously, I won't think I'll be dead. But I can't imagine being older and being like, oh, I just didn't take that risk.
You don't want to get to like that last day and have all the what ifs. Yeah, I think that's something that everybody can relate to for sure.
So I think that's what helped me be bold. I'm like, if I don't do it now, I can get away with it now. So I'm going to do it.
And if not you, who?
Yeah.
You know?
So
sometimes I think like these things, they find us, these winds of inspiration, they find us and it's meant to be. So this is like a calling, like bring this through.
Yeah.
So how do you strike the balance between play and purpose?
Ooh, I think my intention has been purpose.
Yeah.
And then who Ray and I are playful people. So that's why I find the balance. It's the intention to be behind making the game. And then my core morals of who I am. And I am a fun person. And I love being playful and I'm silly. But then I'm also a person who's quite deep. So being purposeful and purpose-led, and the intention behind the game has always been to be intentional. I think that's where I find the balance. I think you have to really know why you're doing something. If you don't know why you're doing it, there's no point. I really knew why I wanted to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that duality that also comes through in the game as well.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's the play element and the purpose element, and that reflects like who you are at your core as well. So I know that you're actually in the you've soft launched.
Yes.
And you're just about to hard launch next week, which we're very excited about.
Yeah.
So the people that have played it, you know, especially women who've played the game, and have they seen themselves represented differently in this game?
But I think they felt represented.
Yeah.
Because they didn't, like, I think people weren't expecting, they didn't know what to expect. I didn't even really know what to expect. I played it with like a small amount of people, but never in such a large group of over 20 women playing at different times. I just didn't know what to expect. And I think they were shocked because of how much they knew or didn't know.
Right. Okay.
And that was really good. And it's like when there was at one point when we were labeling the vagina, and then someone was, oh, can I get a point for this? Because, you know, we all get a bit competitive.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
And then someone was like trying to challenge something. And I was like, you know why I'm not going to let you have that point? Because what if you needed to advocate for yourself, your daughter, your sister, your mother, anyone, and you're labeling your vagina wrong? That's your fallopian tube and that's it.
Important.
And then they were like, oh, okay. They're like, okay, this is serious. And I think when people start realizing, oh, this is quite serious, or they were allowed to talk about things because maybe their friends and family wouldn't talk about things, they had a space to kind of get things wrong. And I think that's how they felt represented, because it didn't matter if you're white, you're black, you're Asian, whatever you were. We were all talking about something which everyone could relate to. So I think everyone felt represented.
Yeah.
And also hearing other people talk so freely. And I had different age groups as well. And it was lovely. It was so beautiful to see it in real life. Because like, I get it. I'm like, are they going to get it? I don't know. But they did. But it was so nice to see people like the penny drop. And also for people to get like intensely, like people writing down their answers. And I was like, yeah, go on, girls.
And again, the bigger purpose behind it is being able to advocate for yourself and for others. Yes. And I think we not always, but I think we tend to forget that point and that issue. So again, we spoke about challenges and taboos and, you know, changing culture. So why is it important for us to normalize conversations about anatomy, pleasure, and the gaps in sex education?
I think it's normal because it's how are we ever going to see a difference if we're not addressing the elephant in the room, right? And I think with pleasure, there's a lot of people where pleasure can be skewed. There's those of people who've had, obviously, sexual trauma, which can stop pleasure. Some people obviously loads of people from religious backgrounds, you're waiting until you're married, and then it could be for reproduction. Then you take away that element of pleasure. So that's why it's important to talk about pleasure. Pleasure can be done by yourself. It doesn't. Loads of people now are abstaining from having sex or completely celibate. So how do you celebrate that on yourself? So it's like quite a personal journey which you need to figure out. I think hopefully a lot of us, not before we ended up in relationships, definitely after, but that's when play is important, because I feel like, you know how everyone talks about their inner child, like, and it might sound jarring to other people. That play element, you need to think about your inner child. Playing a card game, play Uno, play dominoes with your uncle down the road if you need to, but you need to have a little bit of play, because this life is it's a lot. It's a lot.
It can be, yeah.
It's a lot. So I think that element of play. And then what were we saying? Play, pleasure, and...
we were saying play, pleasure, and we were talking about anatomy, the pleasure gaps as well in sex education. Anatomy,
as I said, it's crazy. How can you be like having relations with people, whatever, and you don't know your anatomy?
Yeah, exactly. But a lot of people... That is the case.
Yeah. Oh, it's 100. I didn't know. When did we start making the game? I was 22. How can I couldn't label my bits?
Yeah.
Even my partner at the time, can he label his bits or know what's going on down there? No. And this is all genders. No one knows their anatomy, and that's why people miss opportunities with, like, we're having testicular cancer or anything down there in any of our regions, and people are missing out on these things because they just don't know their anatomy, and it's just kind of like, cringe.
It's so ignored, isn't it? It's such a big part of us and who we are and how we love and relate to people, and we're just like, I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to look at it.
Yeah, and you're like, I think so that as well, normalizing just talking about your genitals in general. You should be able to just talk about them without it being weird or sexualized, because it's fair enough, it is used for sex, but that is not the main reason of it being there. It's there, it lives. Well, you're not aroused all the time, so probably you should know what's going on there. And then the pleasure gap, because I've met, unfortunately, a lot of women who are not being pleasured.
Yes.
They're not. They're not.
True.
But the thing is that they don't even know. They don't even know. So I think loads of women are pretending in sex and performing, and there's no point. Like, we should just be authentic.
Yeah.
So just trying to close that gap as well. Everyone should, even if you don't want to have an orgasm, you should know what one is and choose if you want to or not. Being able to advocate for that.
You mentioned something interesting where you said, a lot of people, there's an increase of celibacy and abstinence.
Yes.
Why do you think that might be?
I think that might be, I could be wrong, due to people actually understanding and listening to themselves. I think that's just general thing. I don't like the rhetoric online, like, oh, men are this, women are this. I don't really like that advocacy, that world. I just don't really like it.
No, yeah.
But I think it's more so that people are listening to themselves, and sometimes you have to take a step away from relationships and people to really truly understand what you want. And if that means abstaining from sex, because a lot of women, even myself included, you're like, I should make them like me. Like when I was younger, you just sleep with them, everything will be okay because you sleep with them. So I think that's taking back your power, is not sleeping with these people, whoever it may be, male or female. You shouldn't be sleeping around if you don't understand why you're doing it. I think that's why there's an increase in that.
No, I totally agree. And, just being very candid, which I'm not normally on this podcast, but given the topic today. There's definitely periods of time where I've been like, right, I'm abstinent now. And it's literally just taking a step back and healing, protecting your energy, knowing who you want to give that energy to and that time to. And I'm glad that that's on the rise. And I hope more women and men, look at that as an option, just to, like, again, just reserving that energy for yourself and taking that time.
Yeah, you just need to have a little think. You can't just be... And also, it's a big energy exchange. Like, I get it now, why they do teach in religion that you shouldn't be flinging it everywhere. I get it now. Yeah. I get it. I get it, Mum. I understand. Yeah. But I've taken a while. But because it is something that's special, and it shouldn't be for everyone, and you should be selective with who you do it with, etc. So big up everyone. I'm abstaining at the moment as well, so you all got to do it.
Yeah. Listen, I don't need anybody in my energy field that's just not for me.
Yeah, that's it.
That is literally it. So, what taboos or misconceptions have you found hardest to challenge?
Ooh, I think the one that's been really interesting to look at is how hard it is to conceive naturally. It's quite a sensitive topic. I'm not personally trying to have children at this moment, but I know people who are, who have been, and it's trying to find a sensitive way to discuss that. I think that's a taboo because there's now statistics now showing that it can do with the sperm, not to do with the egg. Because how women are always told that it's your eggs. Your time's over at 35.
Yeah.
Get off the bench. You can't have kids.
Dried up. Like, how often have we heard that? You're barren or terrible words. Yeah.
So, that whole rhetoric, especially now, I'm like, should I freeze my eggs?
But that is also a question, right? So do you feel that, so you've said, like, you're not thinking about having kids, but then that's in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
Like, freeze the egg. So you do feel that pressure in some way.
Yeah, because you're just like, but I do want to be a parent. But at the same time, you're like, want to find the right person. Don't just want to, have children. Yeah. So it's, but I'm also still worried. I'm like, I might not be able to have children. Like, that's still a fear which I have because you're always told, I look at the age I am now. My mum already, kids were already happening. And I'm like, I got no kid. I got no, I'm outside. I'm talking about Clits, Tits and Other Bits.
You're doing important work.
Yeah. Doing important work, but it's like, still not a mother. And I think, so the whole thing about, that's one taboo, which I think that I'm really sensitive towards because I know I'm not affected by it, but I'm still a little bit upset by it, right? You're just like, I don't know if I'm going to be a mother anyway. Am I going to have to go through IVF? I think that's something I'd love to, which is quite difficult to talk about. Endometriosis, especially in the Black community, endometriosis, PCOS, fibroids are quite big diseases and we're suffering from. And we don't necessarily talk about pain the same because Black women in history have always been told medically that we can handle pain and we just have to deal with it. I remember being a kid and I had started my period and I was in pain. I was in pain, serious pain. And it's like, just get on and deal with it. Because my mum was told to get on with deal with it. My grandmother was told to get on and deal with it because their health wasn't prioritized because of their skin color, right? And I think that's also something I have to be sensitive towards, that it can be different for the Black community in terms of how we're seen medically. That's something. What else is? I think also pleasure in general, talking about pleasure. There's like, you're open to talking about it with me. There's a lot of women who are like, ooh. Yeah. Ooh, or they're like, well, I don't know. So that's something I found quite difficult being able to talk. Like, and that's why I'm like there's like a varied amount of questions in the deck because it gives people a balance. You can join in, not join in, but that's something I still now people are like, ooh.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think just my take on it, the reason why I'm so open to talking about it, I think just with women, by the way, particularly with women, I think there's just like this sisterhood element of it. Yeah. And if we share our experiences, then we get to debunk, or we get to champion, or we get to swap knowledge and advice. And I just think that's why those conversations are so important to have and encourage people. Yeah. You were saying about like the pleasure gap. There's a couple of my friends, and I hope I'm not putting them on blast. Obviously, I'm not naming them, but they haven't ever experienced an orgasm. And so things like that. So me telling them, okay, have you started by exploring on your own body first, and then knowing what you want as yourself, then kind of doing that with a partner, so those conversations and that advice exchange, I think, is really important.
Yes, well, yes, just trying to, I think more, it's like, that's why I want to be able to do more events and stuff. It's just having conversations, have a little chat. If you normalize the chat, or maybe think about the chat in your separate time individually to explore. But I think, pleasure is one thing that people just like,
yeah, but why it's like such a great part of life.
It is, but also it's like, it gets to a point you're like, but why am I having sex?
Yeah.
Why am I here if I'm not gonna feel anything? I don't know. I think
just friction.
Yeah, friction. That's why I'm like, people, like, everyone abstaining, taking your time out, understand why you're here, and then go back.
Yeah, it's important, like understanding the why. I think we do that in all other areas of our lives.
Yes.
So why not apply that to our sex lives?
Amen.
Yes. So how do you see CTOB and similar projects contributing to bigger cultural change? And I think we've touched on this a little bit, especially with like Black women. But yeah, how do you see that?
I think it will just normalize the conversation.
Yeah.
People will be able to talk about it more. Hopefully we'll get into urban culture, all culture. People will just talk about it a bit more. And because it's being spoken about so much, people won't be so shy about it anymore. I think that's what the narrative I'm trying to help switch. It's that if we talk about it enough, it'll just be normal.
Absolutely. You know, just as you're speaking, what I wanted to dig into a little bit. Porn is so normal now, right? It's everywhere. It's easy access.
Yeah.
So it's really crazy that we've got this juxtaposition of being shy, not talking about things as women, but then like this influence of porn is everywhere. I'm just trying to dig into where that disconnect might be happening.
I think also the disconnect is in a lot of porn. There's a lot of people who are not necessarily getting to where they get to, but there's one person who's always getting to where they get to, and it's usually the man. And I think that's where that disconnect is. And if you have a partner who's watching a lot of porn and it's not showing that they need to pleasure, more so getting to where they need to get to, that's where a disconnect gets to. Because if they're constantly watching the rhetoric of, I'm gonna get to where I need to go to, then that's what's gonna happen, disconnect in the bedroom. Also, I think, do they change the law? You have to be over 18 now?
I believe so.
I think you do but I think, you know, there's kids, you get away around anything. Well, I didn't need a Bebo or a MySpace. I still managed to get one. You just change your email and lie your age. So
don't do that if anyone's listening.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's just like the young young people always going to do those things. But I think that's probably why a lot of people don't know what's going on in the bedroom, because they're watching something which can be fabricated. Your sex life can be like porn, of course it can, but at the same time, it's more a two persons figuring out each other's differences. And I think that's not what's reiterated in porn, that everybody is different, everybody is different, and everyone needs different things to get turned on.
Absolutely. And also kind of the violent element of a lot of porn as well is quite concerning. And, you know, not to, what's the word I was looking for? Oh God, what's the word I'm looking for? It's gone out of my head. Not to put all men in the same category.
No, of course
but
not.
This is leading on to what responsibility do men have in engaging with these conversations and educating themselves too?
I think I'd love to have more men come to events or maybe I even do a whole men only event.
That would be good.
Just so they can be comfortable to ask me the questions, because I'll be facilitating it and it's a safe space. And I think the difference is that I can obviously create a safe space for women way more easier than I can for men. Will you feel safe to talk to me about it? I don't know. I don't know if I'm that right person, but I'd love to be, and I'd love to try. I think with men, if you want to be in a relationship with a woman, it'll be good to try and understand her a little bit. And that means her anatomy. You have daughters, you have sisters, you have mothers, you know, we all have points of female relations in our life, no matter if they're not romantic or not. So it's probably best to just, because it allows you to have empathy, right? If you can finally get and understand it. It's like, I know loads of men know what a period is. So
right.
Big it up. They know what a period is, but then it's like some people's periods are different. You might switch partners in your life, of course we all do, but it's like one might have, like as we're saying, PCOS or endometriosis or something. Maybe trying to just even understanding what that word means, or even if you could suggest to them, oh, maybe do you want to go to the doctors because that doesn't sound right, because they know what normal, I say normal in quotes, what normal is, and can help advocate for women as well. I think it's really important, but also because it's just interesting, isn't it? Like I find it interesting to learn about things. It's like when I learned that testicular cancer was the effects of that and how big it is in the male community. When I was like, it's interesting for me to know, and maybe I can help some of my friends as well. I think they definitely have a responsibility. It's if they're willing, and also if they don't feel like people are going to push them out from learning. I think we're all willing and would love more men to understand and know what's going on with us. Since we spend a lot of our lives with them, they might as well know.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I think you've hit the nail on the head. It's about creating that safe space for them to come together, to not feel embarrassed, to not feel like, okay, I'm coming in with very little knowledge, but I want to leave like I've learned a lot. Yeah. So I'd love to see if you create that all male space and where that goes. That's a good idea.
Or sit down and do statistics. I think, guys love a game.
Yeah.
You love a game. There's points. Mm-hmm. Someone will win.
They're competitive. Yeah, so bring that spirit out.
Let's do that. I think definitely, and I'd love to do it in the Black community, because that's especially what's the discourse, what's going on online, and things that are happening. I'm like, okay, this is my community. These are men that I love. Let's educate you guys and figure out, because what I'm seeing online is not cute.
It's really divisive, and it's disheartening, and it's like every other tweet is men are this, women are that, and it's just, how do we become the bridge for each other? Yeah. You know, and I think, again, with this work and with this game and the cards and everything that you're building, I think that is a really solid point to just be that bridge, you know? Yeah. So we're talking about the future of fun in education. Where do you see CTOB going? So are we thinking about expanding in schools, communities, or like new products?
I think I've always wanted, and I think Ray as well has always wanted, we've always wanted to go into schools. Mm-hmm. That would be a really good place to go. But why I kind of stopped on going into school straight away. One, I do not have the certifications to work in a school yet. Mm-hmm. I will, before I talk to any of your children, guys, don't worry. I will go and get my PG cert. But I realised that it's teaching down. Mm. So that's where I paused on the schools thing, because I was like, I have little cousins. I have little siblings. You know, there's people around. I need to be able to talk to them when they have the questions, right? So I think community-wide, global-wide, spreading different countries. I'd love to go to different countries and places where being a woman is often seem difficult, and I'd love to go there to help them advocate for themselves. That's something I'd love to do in the future, 100%. But definitely schools at some point, once I have the qualifications, don't worry. But also... yeah, community-led, but also advocating for all women everywhere who can't access such a radical card game. Mm. I think that's where I see it in the future. Then people just like use it as a prompt and as a tool. Like if people are finding it difficult to talk about it, they think, oh yeah, let me just go and grab Clits, Tits and Other Bits. Like, oh, my daughter is now becoming a teenager. What should I play with her? How do I make this conversation not awkward? Let's do Clits, Tits and Other Bits. Like, how do... my friend is really struggling in her relationship because she's just got married and she's not had sex yet. How do I get her to start thinking about it? Oh, let's have a girls' night and play Clits, Tits and Other Bits. Okay, my girlfriend's really miserable and I don't know what to do about it. I think she's hormonal. Maybe we can play this game together and we can learn something new together in our relationship. I think there's so many different scenarios it could be used, but I want it to be used as a tool and a catalyst to change for people to have factual information which they care about excessively, but also make it fun.
And just a question. So what's the age range that it starts from?
I would say around 16. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 16, because if you're doing it by yourself, it's probably, you know a bit of information at 16. I would say 16. Obviously, for like legal reasons, it'd be like 18. Yeah. But 16, I think, even I can think for myself that was when I started becoming a bit more curious about things.
Yeah, and I think in this generation as well, I think children, again, they're so exposed to so much online. I think they're even younger. I'm not saying that they should be actively, you know, but I think they're just being exposed to it so much younger now than your generation, my generation. That it's so important. It's so important. So what does growth look like for you as a creative and a co-founder?
Ooh, growth looks like, to me, consistently showing up for myself. That's what growth is. Being better than I was yesterday. I think that's what growth is. I would say like stats and numbers, but no, just genuinely. Just trying things new. Like, I'm on a podcast today. That's different. Yeah. That's new. guess it's growth. Like just constantly pushing myself and where I can go. I think that is yeah. So being open, that's what I think is growth.
Yeah.
Being open to all new endless possibilities.
Yeah, abundance of opportunity. And if you had to dream big, what's the ultimate ambition for CTOB?
Ooh, if I was going to dream big, it probably to lobby something in Parliament.
Ooh, okay.
I don't know what issue I'm going to pick, but there's quite a few. I was saying on my Instagram in a video, there was Laura Corrigan. She did the tampon tax, and I followed that when I was like 17. So it must be like 2000 and now I was like looking like 2013. And I think it was abolished in 2016, 17. So do something like that.
Big work.
So that was like tampon tax. I don't know what, I think it probably definitely be help reduce waiting times for diagnosis for endometriosis. I think that would be something that's like my ultimate goal, to do something like that. Yeah, something that improves women's health within the government and NHS. That is my big dream.
Impactful.
Yes.
Impactful work. Yes, and very important. So before we close, we're going to do a little of the game, a little of the cards,
Yay.
shall we?
Do you want me to?
Yep.
So this is just the sample, huh?
There you go. You can see beautiful
Hello.
packaging. We love that.
There is some nips and some clits and tips and other bits. Okay, I'm just literally gonna shuffle it.
Yeah.
This is a blind play.
This is a blind play.
There is no.
There was no preparation. There was nothing. We were just like, bring the cards, girls.
So.
Okay, let me embarrass myself. Let's do this.
Okay. So it's a myth or a fact question. Okay. You have a higher risk of getting an STI during period sex.
Oh, I'd say that's a myth.
It is a fact.
Ooh, okay.
If you have sex during menstruation without using a condom, the risk of getting a sexually transmitted infection, including HIV or a yeast infection, increases due to the hormonal changes that occur at this time. It's best to use a condom when having period sex.
Oh, okay, all right. Now I've learned something today. I feel like I'm going to learn a lot.
Ooh. Hopefully you'll play along.
Yeah, exactly. If you're listening or watching, yes, put it in the comments. Okay, this is funny. Okay, what is the size of the average erect penis? Oh, God.
Is it A, 5 to 5.5 inches, B, 4.5 to 5 inches, or C, 5.5 to 6 inches?
Oh, I'm going to say A, 5.5.
Yeah, 5 to 5.5 inches.
Okay.
That is the average size. Why it's important to include this question is because I feel like there's also a lot of males who feel insecure about the size of their penises. And for us to be good lovers, it's good to know what the average size is or what it's not the average size, to also just be able to understand our partners a bit more. So I think that's why it's good to have this included.
That's a great question. Yeah, absolutely.
Expectations, and let's go on.
Yes.
So there's crazy ones up in here. Let's go. Oh. Have you ever been sent an unsolicited dick pic or nude? So I can't know if you see this.
Girl.
We've illustrated a penis. It's really funny.
I have, and I call it cyber flashing, and I hate it.
I love that cyber flashing. I'm gonna use that.
Yeah,
cyber flashing.
It's so well, not anymore because I'm not on any of the apps, and I don't really deal with men like that. They're so, but like back in the day,
it's scary.
Yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
horrible. It's horrible. Don't do it, man. If you're listening, we don't want it.
Please.
Yeah.
One of the ladies who was at my soft launch was talking about one of the pictures. I was just like, but it was funny because she's always going to remember it because it was so creative, but so weird at the same time. And it's just feel like, oh my God. Yeah, don't send pictures.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. But also with nudes, I've been looking a lot into it at the moment. It's obviously there's image-based sexual abuse, right? So there's also something to think about. It's like, if someone does send you a nude, that's yours, if you want to receive it or not, but it's just keep that image to yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keep that image to yourself. Send it on timer mode. I don't use Snapchat, but I suppose you can go back on Snapchat and send a quick one. But also, it's not cute to send, like, if someone's not your girlfriend or your partner or something, please don't just be sending dick pics.
What are we doing
Well,
here?
please.
Yeah, like I said, cyber flashing. Should we do a couple more?
Yeah, let's do.
I'm actually enjoying this. We can just do the whole podcast.
Okay. Oh, this is good. It's a myth or fact. Okay. A hysterectomy is able to cure endometriosis.
Oh.
Myth or fact?
I would say that's a fact.
It is a myth. But most people think it's a fact because they
Yes.
think once you've had the hysterectomy, but the endometriosis can still keep on growing.
Right.
So, and it can go to different parts of your different organs. So it can't, it's a myth, unfortunately.
Gosh, I didn't know that. I always thought it was kind of like once you've taken it's localized. Yeah, gosh.
No, it can go anywhere.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay. And then let's do one more.
One more. I'm like, where are we going? Let's see what this last one is. I can't be too cheeky in one day. She won't see me again. Oh, no. Okay, no, I don't know. That one's too risque as well.
Oh,
some of them I'm like, did I write?
I can't wait to buy this.
You know, that was
I can't wait to buy this. Yeah.
I'm really showing myself. Anyway.
This is brilliant.
Last one, a myth or fact. Laptops impair a man's sperm production.
Oh, man, I'm gonna say fact.
Yes.
Yeah.
They do. Males who use laptops on their laps are likely to experience scrotal hypothermia, elevated temperatures in their testicles. The heat from the laptop is able to rise the temperature of the testicles when propped in a man's lap, which can affect the production of sperm.
Jeez, see, and that needs to be more widely spread, that information. Yeah, interesting.
So that's just
Yeah. A quick question. So when you were researching all the answers and the questions for this, what did that look like?
So it was like I would say like splitting it between like subjects.
Right.
That's how I kind of went to like, women's health, male's health, things that help both people. So there was that. I was also looking at what's factual and what's not. So that's why we did the myth and fact. So there's 3 different rounds within the card game. There's the myth and fact, which is a commonized things that people say. So that's breaking taboos, really, because people just say things and then you believe it. You're like, if you sit in the toilet, you get an STI, stuff like that. So we knew that we had to do a myth and facts. Then there's literally the stats-based questions, which is one of the types of questions in the cards. So thinking about general things that you think you might know, but like just like a small difference, like let's say the difference between an STI and an STD, things like that. Like we need the stats for that. So that was something that we split into. And then the last one, which is like, because we're fun and playful, like all the funky questions, which you're all gonna like, because why not? Let's might as well be raunchy about it because we love it. In terms of research, it was a lot of medical journals. Yeah. We used a lot of the NHS. This is a UK-based game made in London. We did NHS research mainly. Amazing. I think that was the best way. And in terms of the fun questions, exploring questions, it was like what we thought were good or things that we heard from other people. But yeah, mainly all information from NHS website. There's a lot on there if you want to look for it. And then medical journals as well for some of the questions. But I think it was trying to split it. And there's 70 plus cards in there. Mm-hmm. And we'd love to do an extension pack because we didn't really dive into, LGBTQ community. Yes. That I feel like that needs an extension pack, or like there's additional questions for which are focused on men. That needs another extension pack. There's so many. And then we wanted to and didn't include enough questions on menopause. We did a few questions, but that's also a different way to go into. But we just tried to do a generalized, everyone's included. But now we want to do other bits afterwards. Yeah,
that's fantastic. That leaves a lot of room for so much more conversation, and growth. So just closing out now. Yeah. What message do you want to leave with young women and Black creatives listening today?
What would I say? I will say, do it scared and just do it. you have if you have an idea to do something, we all have a light within us and you need to shine. So if you feel called to do something, just do it. And that's why I led with do it scared, because sometimes you don't want to do it, but you got to do it scared. So I believe in you. You should believe in you. You've got your whole community backing you. And even if you don't have your own community backing you, you will find the community who will.
Amen. Yes, I love that. And I always like to leave it on a value. So I like to leave our listeners and our viewers with a value that they can take away. Yeah. So what value holds you for your professional life and for your personal life? We'll start with professional life.
Professional life, I will say authenticity. We can only perform for so long. So if you're authentic, you can never go wrong. So I think in your professional career, that is what you should do. That is what value I hold to high regard. One thing I can do is be myself, and I'm very good at it. So let me just do that.
Yeah. And for your personal life?
Personal life, empathy. Have empathy for your changing situations and growing. You're always going to change as a person. I think that's what value that gives me. Just be empathetic. Things change and grow. Things go up and down, left and right. It swings and roundabouts, doesn't it? So just always try and carry empathy.
Yeah. And if people want to find your journey, where can they find you?
So you can find me. so that's I always get sent out. You can find Clits, Tits and Other Bits at Clits _ Tits _ and _ other _ bits on Instagram, and then on TikTok we're and other bits, because we have to censor ourselves because they're a bit more strict on the TikTok. That's where you can find us, or you can find me at Kangwa Saili. I should be posting more on there about my professional work, but I'm just enjoying Clits, Tits and Other Bits a bit too much.
And where are the cards available? Is it through Amazon or is it just through the website?
It's at the website at the moment, but we will be on Amazon after our official launch on the 9th. Yes!
Kangwa, thank you so much. Thank you for being the guest finale. It was such a fantastic conversation to end the season on. I have been enlightened.
Thank you.
And I just wish you every success with the launch that's coming next week. And I can see this just going massive. So yes, we're looking forward to it.
I love being on here with you. Amazing. So keep on doing it. I love listening. I love what you're doing. Also, you find great guests.
Yeah. All my guests, they're fantastic.
Yeah. Amazing.
And now you've added to the circle. So thank you for that. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And if you've been with us throughout the whole season, I truly thank you from the bottom of my heart. And we will be back next season for bigger, better, bolder, brighter. But in the meantime, please do follow us on all our social medias. It's Black Circle Podcast. Thank you, guys.